then the people then perish because they didn't have a vision. So they perish. You have a spiritual
Perish for lack
purpose.
of knowledge.
Yeah. So you have a spiritual purpose.
Okay.
And for you to find that. Yeah. Oh, sorry, love. I don't want to come over here. Sorry. Sorry, love. I don't want to.
No, but she does have a spiritual purpose.
That's right.
But the thing is, where there's a vessel for or a vessel for,
It might not be the same, maybe the same purpose
So
as
I'm not here
yours.
to.
No, I'm saying her spiritual purpose might not be the same spiritual purpose as yours or ours.
Yeah, no. She has it. Only her can
but
find what
it is a spiritual purpose.
Everybody's got a spiritual
But I would say to her, me, as being a Christian, I would say to her.
And your spirit bearing witness that you love it. Yeah.
I would
It is a
say
spiritual.
I would say to you, they would say that, but I would say
Wait, so, well, the Muslims also told me, so it all messages in some ways. Like,
So lucky.
so do you don't know about the Holy Spirit?
Say that again, 2 Thessalonians.
Yeah, sorry, love. Nice to meet you.
Next time I see you, we'll speak to you.
Yeah.
God willing.
God bless you all in your family.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Shalom, man.
Yeah, beautiful. God bless you. Yeah, take care, darling.
So this is the book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 3, verses 14 to 15. Verse 14. And if any man obey not our word by this epistle, note that man and have no company with him, that he may be ashamed. Verse 15. Yet count him not as an enemy, but admonish him as a brother.
wait, what was the first part? Sorry.
What, the whole thing?
Did you say the first part of that?
Just the part right before, like, what did he do wrong?
Oh, okay, so let me read it again. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 and verse 14. If any man, so when it says man, that's a generic term, so that could be man and child, yeah, right. So if any person, right, if any man, person, obey not our word,
This
Oh,
word?
right,
Words of
okay.
what's in the Bible.
which is kind of like what I was referring to you. In other words, if they obey not the words of the scriptures, right, this word, by this epistle, which is a letter that was written to the church in Thessalonica, I believe, note that man, so in other words, make a note of the person, note that man, meaning man, woman or child, let's walk it out, and have no company with him, right? That he may be ashamed. So this was something, I remember as a child growing up, they used to do it. They used to call it sending to Coventry or sending them to Coventry. So that would be in a class and nobody's talking to you. And you go in the playground and nobody's talking to you. So that's done to shame you back into your right mind. And it works, trust me. It's a horrible thing, right? Because you feel cut off. Verse 15. Yet count him, any person, not as an enemy, but admonish him, any person, as a brother. And brother is also defined as a Hebrew like man, woman, or child. So that's why if you notice, with our people, we greet each other brother or sister. It just automatically comes out of our mouth.
Where's your dad? Where's your dad?
My family is Israeli.
I thought so.
And it's interesting because I don't know, like spiritual, like the spiritual energy and like musicians. I feel like you can tell when musicians starts playing right away and they have like this type of like something about their energy is like so broadly like powerful, and then you have musicians that are like
Just
really,
going through the
really
motion.
talented, but it's like and not
You're not in the spirit.
and it's like it's like a different.
It's like a computer music. So you can use a computer and play a tune, but there's no spirit or soul in it.
Yeah, right. And but music can sometimes be profoundly healing, and like can make you cry.
Yeah, that's listening after something.
It's because everything is spiritual before it's physical. But these things have a vibration on them. And they either vibrate with you or they vibrate against you.
But then it's so interesting because I thought so. I was worried I might have some kind of like energetic like some some sort of like energetic like issue, I guess. I don't know how to describe it.
Maybe you do.
Yeah. And so then, but then, so then there's like chakras, and there's, you know, like the practitioners of like.
So chakra is a Far East or Near East system, and that links up with the Kundalini, and it's quite bogged out there. So when we say
It's quite what?
bogged
Oh, yeah.
out, so what that means is that it's quite contrary to the word.
Why is it contrary?
Because it's doing something other than what the word says it should do.
But is it doing things that is against what the word says you should do?
But when you understand what you need to do to open up your Kundalini,
Especially if you're
It actually is.
in Egyptology.
and also you have to also
Well,
understand.
but there's
No,
like
wait,
people
let me
meditate and
just
stuff.
make this point.
It's not all tantra. Like
Let me just
tantra
make this point
system-
before you finish.
Yeah.
Let me just make this point. Because those concepts come through other gods and other religious systems. So yes,
Oh,
so
interesting.
it does.
So there's competing. But I thought if
Yes,
there's only one God.
say it. When you're about to say there's competing
Gods.
Yes.
But there's
But
there
there's
can't be.
one
There's only one.
most high God.
I think there's only one.
Well, you're true. It's correct. There is only one, but the other nations have gods. But there's only one true God. That's the difference.
And those gods come under a vibration. They have a certain spirit on them.
And not
what you was alluding
to.
and not everybody worships the true God.
It's actually not confusing.
That's totally confusing.
It's not confusing.
Because
What
like,
makes it confusing?
because okay, so like my world was very simple, right? Like my world.
Devil's a liar.
So the scripture says we are to obey God rather than men. So we don't get into our own opinion of what we feel. What you call scripturas.
Right.
Was it?
Solo
Scriptura. So our concept of morals, right or wrong, or what we should or shouldn't do, it comes from our ancestors, what they said, right? So we don't rely on other people's ancestors, what they said. Because when we look at what they're doing, they're putting red dots in their hair. I've actually seen a video of what that red dot is, and I tell you what, it's gross, right? So when you look at the practices of what other people are doing, or other gods or other religious systems, that's why I said bogged out.
But I thought
Bogged out.
God gave books to all the different people, like different books to all the different people.
Yeah, because they're vessels, because they're made vessels to destruction. So he allowed them to go with their own vain opinion.
No, I thought like it was like every people got their
Listen,
own.
there's not many avenues to the creator. There's one.
Yep.
Contrary to popular belief, there's many
But
ways.
things like they have the one avenue, so how do you know which
Yeah.
avenue?
Well, I guess we'll find out in the end, man.
With the scripture.
Right.
That's what we
So I'll say, I'll leave it like that.
Yeah. All right. Read that precept again for the. And then we.
You'll find out.
Yeah.
for 2 Thessalonians.
Yeah. All right.
Well, actually, I think we have found out.
How like paradise and palace state of mind is like a condition. You guys were saying that about
It's a condition, and
That's pretty
you're going to
nice.
meet. You're going to see it. Let's
No,
go.
but it doesn't like, is it
So this is the book of Second Thessalonians. I know, right? This is the book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 3.
To say something soon. It was coming.
You know she comes down with that. My spirit is
You know he opened. So.
Yeah, you know, man. I know that spirit, man.
Yeah, I just
Trying to
know
worm
your
away in,
face
man.
kind of interest.
Up to and fro up the
And it's funny because the precept that I had that brought out, it actually fits them. You know, the crying and the begging and the pleading. No,
Yeah, that's right, man.
so this is Salakia.
No.
This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verses 14 and 15, verse 14. And if any man obey not our word
right.
by this epistle,
That's right.
note that man and have no company with him, that he may be ashamed. Send him to
Some
Coventry.
people won't be ashamed anyway. So.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You have to.
I know that. Verse 15. Yet count him not as an enemy, but admonish him as a brother.
Obviously, it's a case where you have certain brothers out here. Obviously, you have certain beliefs which is quiet. But it's a case where if one or two other brothers don't necessarily agree with the way he conducts himself, or necessarily agree with what he perpetuates, don't just automatically classify him as an enemy, because you need to remember he's still a brother at the end of the day. Remember, we all come from the same seed line. And what you need to stop doing as well, also, is obviously making it seem like you're full of love and joy and all the rest of it, but really and truly, we can see by the energy you perpetuate that you're carrying a lot of hate and dislike and envy and jealousy towards one another. Okay? Because what you need to stop doing as well, because obviously the members in your camp don't have the courage to tell you what you're doing is wrong.
That's right.
That's obviously a fact. So you have members that won't even tell you that what you're doing is wrong. And that's where that's where your momentum tends to build up, because no one's holding you accountable for the iniquity that you're conducting. So I'm going to tell you right here, right now, that what you're doing is wrong. Stop referring to your brothers as niggers and stop putting such emphasis on that term nigger, because when you're putting such emphasis on that term nigger, it means that it lies a lot deeper. You know, there's something deep within you that's obviously just, you know, exerting a lot of like dislike towards a fellow brethren. And yeah, it's like one of the brothers said it earlier, what you want is to fight fire with fire. You want us to hate you. Because so you exalt yourself thinking that, yeah, so it justifies your action, and also you exalt yourself thinking you're above everyone. Oh, look at everyone down below me, are trying to weigh me down, all the haters are trying to bring me down. No one here is hating on you. We're all on the same side here. We're all fighting for salvation. All fighting for salvation. For you to come out with a siege mentality against your fellow brothers is absolute foolishness. So please stop with this stupid paranoia that you withhold within yourself, because there's something demonic that's within you and it's impeding your spiritual growth, you know? So you thinking you automatically jumping on your high horse trying to make it seem like you're better than everyone else. The reality is you're not better than everyone else. We're all in the same boat. We're all trying to fight to get into the kingdom. No one here yet is saved, and there's still a long way to go. So please understand when I say this to you, learn to love your neighbors and love your brothers, because number one, it's a law, and number two, it's healthy, you know, because it puts you in the mind at peace. So you coming out here with such a burden, it's not healthy at all.
That's exactly what it is. When you're holding it, you don't need to hold it. Literally. So what also part of it is pride. Blind to you. That's why you're not able to see, you know. First of all, pride's not going to go have you examine yourself in the first place, because you're looking at yourself like, well, there's nothing that I do that's bad. And even if you do, then I quickly forget that in a second, and then it's all about what someone else is doing. Exactly. Because you're trying to hide what you're doing, really, like you say, it's a reflection of what you're doing.
It's all a reflection. And one thing I want to say as well, because obviously this is something I wanted to vocalize. And now, what certain brothers need to understand is, yeah, every passing second, minute, day, hour, whatever that goes by, those that are not doing the work deceitfully, our spiritual power.
Yo, Pop.
And I won't hear me.
Our spiritual power of growth is increasing as time goes by. And guess what? The more spiritual we become, we then tend to latch onto the spirit of discernment. So now we can work out what's true and what's not true. You know, so there's a case where, and we can see who's trying to be manipulative, deceitful, and trying to be slick, which falls under the bracket of being deceitful. You know, because you have certain brothers that when they're doing certain videos, we can see what you're doing. You're putting certain titles to your video pertaining to certain subjects and trying to make it seem like you're talking about people as a whole. But what we know what you're doing is that you're indirect to certain brothers. And I'm gonna come out and say it. Yes, I've seen some of your titles, and one of them says adultery. And now I'll tell you from now, I'm not stupid. I know where you're going with this. You might turn around and say, yeah, oh, Israel committed adultery against the Most High by paying the whole of different gods. Because remember, you got to bear in mind, you could have used a multitude of titles, but yet you have to pick adultery. Because why? Because you're obviously trying to indirect certain brothers. And I can see what you're doing. And what you're doing is remember, what you're doing is sinful, because you're contradicting Leviticus 19, 16 to 18. So I just want certain brothers, when they watch this video, just bear that in mind what you're doing. Because like I said, you have brothers in your camp, they're not going to tell you what you're doing is wrong. So I'm going to just tell you right now. And the thing is, I wanted to tell you on the phone that what you're doing is where you're going off. But it's the case where you don't like rebuke. Immediately when I tried to tell you in a calm manner that, oh, what you're doing is wrong, the way you conduct yourself is not spiritual, it's not professional, immediately you started raging and shouting at the top of your voice. Well, number one, because you're prideful, and number two, you don't like rebuke, and number three, You didn't like it because of me personally, because number one, I'm like 14, 15 years younger than you. So you're thinking to yourself, who are you, who I'm old enough to be your dad, trying to rebuke me? You don't like the rebuke. It's not the fact that I'm actually telling you you're going off. It's just the fact that you just don't like rebuke. You're prideful, and I'm a lot younger than you. And on top of that, the fact that you've been in the truth longer than I have. So you're thinking, oh, I don't know nothing and you know everything, which is cool. You can play that code all you want. It doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't affect me, you know? So we just want to let you know that what you're doing and all the message you're trying to send out, it doesn't affect us because we're still doing the work. But clearly, we're living your head rent free, you know, for the wrong reasons. Because there's a lot of hate and negativity you're perpetuating. You know, bearing in mind that we've been apart from each other for months, but then yet you're still bringing up certain subjects, you know. And again, that's not brotherly love. That completely contradicts brotherly love. So please stop doing what you're doing. I'm only telling you to stop doing what you're doing out of love because I want you to receive salvation, believe it or not.
Right.
Whether you believe it or not, that's strictly down to you. You can still believe I hate you, but the reality is I don't. I don't even dislike you. I dislike a lot of your characteristics, but and the way some of a lot of your characteristics, you know, are wicked. Now, I'm not saying that you're necessarily wicked as a person, but you need to completely alleviate those characters. Yeah, there's a spirit there's a massive spirit of burden that's upon you, and it's weighing you down. And God, Yahweh forbid that completely impedes you or costs you a place in the kingdom of heaven. Because I don't want that to happen, so I'm just gonna let you know from now. You know, because you have brothers in your camp just quickly. You have brothers in your camp that completely just nod their head to everything what you're saying. But one thing I can guarantee you, he might be shining his teeth and constantly nodding his head, but what I can guarantee you is that what you're doing is wrong. And stop gaining momentum out of something that's completely negative because it ain't righteous at all. And I speak with passion because obviously I want you to get it. And a lot of the things you perpetuate, it's not passion, it's just emotion. You coming out and calling your brothers niggas and doing such emphasis, that's not passion. That's just emotion and hatred and dislike towards your fellow brethren. You know, like I said, it completely contradicts the brotherly love law. So stop doing what you're doing because it ain't great. And we don't carry no negativity towards you. We're out doing the work, being peaceful. You know, it's just you on your part. You're the one that's completely injecting such negativity. That's why I'm coming out and speaking like this, because I just want you to get it and also stop doing what you're doing. You know, just like when I done the video about the spirit of faith. Obviously, I mentioned a few things. I know you definitely watched that video because as soon as I've done that video, you came out of the wilderness and also you're back in the highways and byways. So I'm glad that message completely sunk in because that's what we're meant to be. Meant to be doing, meant to be out here in the highways and byways. You know, so that message definitely sunk in and it definitely hit a nerve. But I'm glad it did because I want the best for my brothers because we're not meant to be fearful, you know. So I'm glad your confidence is up, but at the same time, don't use your confidence to start inflicting such negativity towards your fellow brothers because you ain't gonna do yourself any favors at the end of the day.
Sometimes a brother will know that guy enough, but the pride will still have that. Their brother will say something like, oh, you know, I'm back out here in the highway because I've chose to. Now I know brothers are going to say, oh, they're back out. Yeah, well, you know brothers are going to say that because what you was doing didn't make any sense in the first place. But rather than just accept that, and it goes back to the me, I, because if you was dealing with the us and the we, you'll say to yourself, okay, well, all right, the spirit that I'm in from example, so I don't want it to rub off on the two brothers that are in my camp. And those brothers ain't, like the brother said, those brothers ain't gonna correct. One might correct you. I see that. That brother, you know, that brother's very sincere. You know? But the other brother's not gonna correct you, because guess what? He don't want to be corrected either.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm glad I actually want to make a point as well because, and the reason why I say it's important that not to count your brothers. Yeah, actually read it out.
This is the book of James, chapter 1, verse 16. Do not err, my beloved brethren. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning.
Exactly. You know, all the more reason. Like it's stated numerous times in the scriptures. And one point I wanted to make as well to the previous scripture that I got the brother to read out in relation to Thessalonians, that not to count your brother as an enemy. Now, I'll say this: there was a period of time where obviously there's a camp just up the, well, not the road, but like they preach at a certain location. There's a case where once upon a time there was discord amongst the two brothers respectively. Now they had a falling out. One went his way and the other one went his own way. And there was a point in time where I was constantly speaking to that brother every day. Every day he was calling my phone, he was texting my phone, you know, because obviously like the spirit of fear, the spirit of depression was on him. And also it's the case where bearing in mind he's been in the scriptures far longer than I am, but I was bringing up scriptures and precepts, you know, to help alleviate certain spirits that a certain brother was holding, which was also demonic because it was impeding his spiritual growth. You know, because he was constantly complaining about certain people watching him, specifically the Edomites watching his every move, etc. You know, just being paranoid. You know, and constantly like disliking his life. Like he'll sound like he completely hates his life because every time he phones me, he talks about, oh, I just want the kingdom of heaven to come as soon as possible. But you know, I always say to him, it's patience, 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 and just learn to, you know, grow spiritually. And it's a case where, like I said, I was bringing out a lot of precepts and scriptures to help this brother. You know, and at that time, at that point in time as well, that brother, he was giving me advice against another brother, saying, oh, this brother is very prideful, he's very emotional, he has a lot of dislikable characteristics, doesn't conduct himself accordingly. You know, he's giving me all the warnings in the world about a certain brother. Now guess what? Now they're back preaching together and everything's all good. And that was a case where, because I was thinking, you know what, I was doing that out of love, so I was trying to warn a certain brother, oh, don't let another brother spiritual or with certain characteristics weigh you down, because I'm seeing that their energy is having a toll on your energy. It's impeding your spiritual growth towards Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. So it's the case where I was saying to the brother, oh, watch out for certain brothers that have that wicked spirits upon them. Watch out for how certain brothers are very deceitful, very manipulative, they bear false witness, etc. Bearing in mind he was giving me this advice, and now I returned the favor, I gave that advice to him. Now what he proceeded to do was, he went behind my back and started gossiping about me towards another brother. So that's why you have certain brothers completely conducting certain videos from last week and completely raging and shouting and doing videos about myself. And I looked and I thought, wow, no, that's incredible. But at the same time, I learned my lesson. Now I learned a lesson, because I must admit as well, this is where I hold accountability. I was at fault, because I should know better not to trust certain brothers, you know? And because it's a case where I don't 100% trust myself, so who am I to 100% trust other people? That's right. You know? Yeah. So I must admit, I was completely foolish trusting another brother, because he went and grasped me up to a brother. So, and what I decided to do is, and you know what, I'll say this wholeheartedly, there's no dislike, there's no hate. Like, I don't envy you for doing such a thing. You know, we're still cool, we're still brothers at the end of the day. You know, but it's not. But from now on, things are going to be at arm's length, just so you're aware. You know, it's not going to be a case where we're all going to be good and everything. Like I said, there's no negative feelings in my heart towards you. But
sometimes you gotta love a brother from a distance.
Exactly. It's good.
Yeah. Like you might have family members you love in the world, but you don't see them and talk to them every day. They're at a distance.
So there you go. And I would just say, I don't count you guys as enemies. You're still my brothers. So, but just so you're aware that yes, you know, sometimes you'll have to go as far as blocking certain brothers' numbers and deleting them, which I have done. I've deleted 2 brothers' numbers and I've blocked them. So it's a case where I do not intend to interrupt them anytime soon. Now again, I must emphasize the fact that I do not dislike or hate any other brothers. You know, because that's not within me to do something. I'm not gonna. It doesn't sit right for me to wake up every morning knowing that I dislike a brother or hate a brother, going to bed at night knowing that I dislike a brother or hate a brother. But that's just not me. That's how the scriptures permit. You know, so I'm not gonna do such a thing. But just so brothers are aware, certain numbers have been blocked and deleted, straight and simple.
Yeah, I was going to bring up this, but I just also wanted to add, it's also according to the scriptures that you're not supposed to go to bed and wake up the following day with hatred in your heart. Yeah, exactly. Pull out the precept. Ephesians 4:26. So I don't have to read it because I said it verbatim, but just for edification. So right, so the precept I'm going to bring up, it says basically we have to be patient. It's illustrating patience and the reward of patience. So there's many here, but I'm just going to read one. So this is the book of Revelations, chapter 2, verses 25 and 26. Or maybe even 27. Yeah, like 27. 25 to 27. Verse 25. But that which you have already, hold fast. So that's the good doctrine. That's the sound doctrine that our elders, our apostles, our elders in the truth that taught us, and also the prophets of old, the scriptures, right? Hold fast till I come, verse 26. And he that overcometh, so to overcome, that means there's a start, a middle, and an ending. So let's say a fight, Mike Tyson fighting somebody, right? So there's a first round, a second round, a third round. He that overcometh, meaning you stayed until the last round, you overcometh, and keepeth my works unto the end, meaning all of the commandments, all of the scriptures listed out, especially the red letter one, listed out, you did them. So you can't pick and choose which one. So when it says love your brother, or you pick and choose that one, or if it says don't have hatred in your heart, you pick and choose. No, you just do what the word says, right? And I will, verse 27, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, this is a good bit now, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to pieces, even as I received on my Father. So this is one of the things that we're looking forward to. But we have to overcome, we have to be steadfast, keep the faith, keep the law, statutes, and commandments.
God says a lot of issues that we battle with in this truth.
Yes.
There's issues that we had in the world.
Yes.
They're not necessary, you don't really come in the truth. We correct, but you don't necessarily come in the truth and be a hater. You were a hater in the world, you know what I'm saying? So we just have to battle these things, and it's a process that you have to continue, like the brother said, to the end, you know. He said, in your patience, possess your soul. So if it's something you're battling with, continue to fight it, man. Yeah, till thy kingdom come.
And that also means being patient with yourself and your brothers.
That's right. That's right.
And you know what? I just want to bring that sign as well. It's more.
Hold on, one quick. And it says, here is the patience of the saints. So this is something that the saints is going to be exercised.
That's a key element.
Yeah.
Patience, man. That's something that we all need to.
That's right.
We all need to, work on.
And you know what? And also the point I also want to bring out as well, it's more to do with my personal life. And also I'm an open person, so I don't mind saying this. And also I do this for edification purposes. Like I said, always say, when you're going through a certain problem, you're not the only one. There's always people that are going through the same identical issues that you're going through. So exactly even worse. So I'll make one thing very clear. I have no reason to dislike you or be hateful or envious towards you, because what I'll say is this, yeah. I've never met my dad before. I never had a conversation with him, right? Never ever seen him. He's never rang up once in my whole life to wish me happy birthday or anything like that, you know? So it's a case where as a young child myself, I had to watch my mum raise me up, raise my brother up, and raise my sister all by herself. No man to support her, okay? I've never met my dad, but guess what? I don't hold any hatred towards my dad. I don't dislike my dad, you know? And for a lot of people in the world, that's enough for them to completely and utterly hate their dad. And I know a lot of people that do hate their dad, but I don't hate my dad, I don't dislike him. I ain't got no negative feelings towards my dad, despite him not being in my life and despite him forsaking me, not caring about me. Now, when you take that into account, if I can't even dislike my dad for what he's done, then what reason have I got to dislike you? Because my dad has done way worse to me and my siblings, you know, my two brothers and my sister. And you haven't even done me dirty, so who am I? You know what I mean? It's laughable. You coming out and saying, oh, we dislike you, we hate you, etc. I don't. And I'll say this as well, because there was this guy that I once known as well, where once upon a time we were very cool. And this is one guy that I was close with. I've seen him at his very best, I've seen him at his very worst. And I remember those times where he was at his very worst. I remember those times where he wasn't working. There were times where he was struggling to pay bills. He wasn't sure as to when his next meal was gonna come. Guess what I used to do? I used to supply him money. I gave him that over £1,000, you know, over the period that I've known this person for. And I was grateful to do such a thing, to help a fellow brother out, you know. I helped him start his own business. I helped put food on his plate. I helped him pay his bills, you know. And now guess what? We don't speak anymore. But I don't count him as an enemy. And now what that guy's doing is, he's failing to acknowledge all the good things I've done for him. Now he's bearing false witness against my name. He's the one that's going around telling other people, oh, be mindful of Emmanuel, which is my English name. Be mindful of Emmanuel. Oh, he's a snake. He will do you dirty, etc. And that's not who I am. I don't do people dirty. And I don't remember bringing them up and raging before me, and not even instructing some people saying, oh, certain brothers hate me this, certain brothers hate me that, blah blah blah. I never said anything negative about that brother. I just said, you know what, I'll block his number, I'll delete his number, etc. And I'll move on from there. So there's people in my life that have done me dirty, you know. And yes, it's had an influence as to the way that it's had such an influence as to the way I am now. For example, my father not being in my life, but that's very deep for a man, you know, to have a father in his life. But I never had that privilege, but a lot of people do. But guess what? People that have robbed me money, people who have not been in my life where they're supposed to be, they haven't been there. But guess what? I do not hold any dislike or negative energy towards them. Now, you, being the way you are, you haven't even done a quarter or even a fraction of what certain people have done to me. And yet you expect me to dislike you or hate you. Like I said, it's just pure paranoia. I haven't got anything against any other brother. And now a member in your camp went behind my back. It's the latest chapter now. Your member in your camp went behind my back and started speaking things about me. Bearing in mind, like I said earlier, he was giving me warnings and now I returned the favor, and now suddenly he delivers me up to the council, you know? And you want to constantly preach about, oh, there are certain guys in the last days, when times get tough, they'll deliver you up. Now, how do I know when times get tough, you're not going to do it to each other, let alone to your other brothers who you consider as your enemy? Because let's be honest, as much as you want to perpetuate the idea that, oh, we all one, that we all are, these are my brothers, blah, 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 but that's not what your energy or your actions in line with your statement. It's completely contradictory.
It's patterns, man.
It's patterns of behavior that I can see right through.
And like what you say, man, when the scripture talks about separate yourselves, man, it's not just talking about from the world, man. It's talking about anybody that's going to affect you from doing the war of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua to the best of your ability. And that means one of those things is loving your brother as you love yourself. Right. And that might just mean having them out of arm's length. That don't mean you might not check in on them on a text from here from time to there, but then, like you said, and the reason that came about, you not holding grudge in that's made you to be the man you are today. You're a humble brother.
But even with the checking in on the text, it's like you could be checking in on the text and they're never checking in.
No, but then you done. That's what we say. You done your part.
Yeah, that's right.
That's you shine your brotherly love. Now that's the other side of brotherly love. Brotherly love don't stop. Brotherly love don't stop because the other brothers don't shine love to you. That's a female trait, and that's what couples are. Oh, if you're for me, then I'm for you. That's not the spirit of Yahweh Shai, man. The spirit of Yahweh Shai was these people delivered me up to the council. Right, but guess what? Forgive them, Father. That's why I say, man. We can talk all we want, man. The abundance of your heart, your mouth's always gonna answer. So when you're talking about stuff like, oh, if you're for me, I'm for you. If you're against me, I'm against. That's not the spirit, man. Because if any of these, if me and every of these brothers up here came to odds at the end of the day, yeah, I'm still gonna give my life for them, man. Now I can say that now, I can say that even again. It goes again. I'm talking right. I'm talking a good one. But I believe that in my heart, and plus I know how I am to an extent. I'm gonna be the first one to stand in front of my brothers and probably take the knife. That's just how I was in the world. Say I can think of many times these things nearly happened to me. Me being that spirit, but that like I say, all goes back to you having wisdom and understanding why you don't hold no grudge on your dad. I say that comes for you. That's a real man at the end of the day, man. That's a real man acknowledging at the end of the day your dad was just a man too. None of us are perfect. And he had his faults, man. He had his and guess what? Some brothers are expecting their self from others, man. And that's a mistake that we all make.
And you know what?
We ain't shit.
You've not even heard from him. You don't know what.
See? You don't even know what.
Yeah. This is Galatians 6 and 5 and 16. I say this then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
And the spirit is the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. Know what we're calling the spirit, because we feel like it.
That's right. It says, love your brother as yourself, man.
So this is the book of John, chapter 14, verses 23 and 24, red letters. Verse 23. Jesus answered and said, Yahushua answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father, Abanawa Yahweh, will love him. And we will come unto him and make our abode with him. Verse 24. He that loveth me not, keepeth not my sayings, and the word which you hear is not mine, but the Father's, Abanawa Yahweh, which sent me.
And just on that point, just say as well, that there's a difference between you rebuking a brother, yeah, right? Oh, we rebuke, brother, that's love, right? We're not going to agree more on that. Rebuke is, but you can't be. We don't wish for your destruction. I wish there that we all meet up on that chariot together, man. We taken up in that cloud and we laughing that day, man. That shit. Remember what was going through? They keep doing all that bullshit, man. That's what I wish, I still have brothers in my prayers, but some brothers are moving in the spirit opposite to where they're waiting to see the downfall of brothers. All them niggas are certain niggas, they're gonna go smiling and laughing about like you want brothers to be destroyed, man. Like you want brothers not to receive salvation now. That's a wicked spirit, man.
There you go. And just to touch on what the brothers are saying as well, remember, it's like what I said as well. Like, it's like you put so much emphasis on the term nigger because, like, you know what, it's like you want to see the downfall of your brothers. But like I said, that's not spiritual. That's not spiritual at all. And remember, you got to bear in mind as well, you have children as well. And imagine your children looking at you, seeing their dad on camera, acting in the manner that he does, and then your children are in a group of people, and they're all seeing the way you're conducting yourself. Now, you got to think to yourself here, your children will be embarrassed. Because like what I said, I've never met my dad before. Chances I'm never going to meet him. But it's like if I was to see my dad on camera, acting the way you act, acting the way you do as well, conducting yourself in the manner that you conduct yourself in. If I see my dad do that, despite me having a non-existent relationship with him, and all the rest of it, if I was to see that, I'll be absolutely embarrassed. If I'm being honest with you, I'll be embarrassed to even call him my dad. So please bear in mind that conduct yourself more professionally. That stop conducting like a child because it's very immature and it's embarrassing.
We're meant to be examples, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
This is 1 John 4:7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of the Most High. Everyone that loveth is born of the Most High and knoweth the Most High. He that loveth not knoweth not the Most High, for the Most High is love. This is verse 11.
Like when that scripture says about love, and this is where people kind of stray off, because like love is more than a word. It's an action.
1 Corinthians 13.
Yeah, you know, like you say it, but you know what? Love is an action. And that's where people go wrong. It's easy to say the word, but showing it and meaning it is another thing.
Yes, it says, verse 11, 1 John 4:11. Beloved, the Most High so loved us, we ought also to love one another. Yeah. I want to quickly bring up one more.
And that's just not love one way, on a one way. That's not love, because a brother don't love me and I don't love him. That's some bitch, I'm sorry. That's some emotional shit, man. That's how a woman acts, man. Exactly. And that's what it is. Really what it is that brothers want to be loved. And brothers, they want to love you too, but sometimes they want it to be on their terms. That's not how love works, man.
And a good example of love in the scriptures is, you know, if you read 1 Corinthians chapter 13 itself, it covers a lot of things. But just going to read a few. 1 Corinthians, because this is one of my favorite. 13:1. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity. Now that word charity, it was a Christian that told us. That word charity is the same word as love in, this is the love of the Most High. Yeah? It says, though I speak with the tongues of men.
So the tongues of men would be the Goyim languages. The different languages that the Goyim speak.
Yes, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels,
which would be the Paleo-Hebrew, because they speak Paleo-Hebrew.
And have not charity, I am become as a sounding brass or tinkling cymbal, meaning you're some bag of noise.
So just because, you know, you got the fringes, you know, all this Hebrew, hey, but no side don't care if what?
It says, I am become as a sounding brass or tinkling cymbal. And so I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge. But hear this though. And so I have all faith so that I could remove mountains. And have not charity, I am nothing.
Hey, that's a deep scripture. Hey, I want to do a lesson on that.
Hey, it goes down. Listen.
So you could know all these things, man. What's that going to give you? You've got faith to move mountains, right?
Faith that you could move mountains.
The one little thing that brothers take for granted, man.
Showing that love.
That's why I go back and say that's going to be a big killing that wilderness, man.
There you go. Hey, that's hey, man.
Because I'll make one. I'll make one final point on the matter before obviously move on to other scriptures. And because it's all directly correlates to loving your brothers, or loving one another. So, for example, just because one brother is in another camp, contrary to the camp that you're in, if, for example, we have like certain feast days or holy days, don't reject that brother from attending a particular feast day with your camp just because they preach with another camp. And you're trying to come up with excuses as to why you're rejecting a certain brother from attending a certain feast day. You know, because I'll use myself as an example. During the Feast of Pentecost, you know, obviously there was a specific camp that were conducting it at a certain brother's house, and obviously my brother that I normally teach with, he obviously attended the Feast of Pentecost. And now the guy, truth be known to you, being very jealous and bitter in the manner that he is, he didn't want me to attend because he saw it as the case where I was against him, solely because I preach with Yahweh's messengers. So that in itself, you already saw me as an enemy. And like I said, try to make an excuse or given reasons such as, oh, I don't want to confuse the viewers, etc. Or 1 minute you're here, then 1 minute you're there, etc. But we're not doing this for viewers. We're doing this for the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So that I don't know who you're trying to fool here. You're talking about us showing jealousy and envy, but you're the one that's being very jealous and envious.
If you're trying to seek to please the Most High, you would have let the brother come to this.
Exactly.
If you're seeking to please men and you're thinking about what the viewers think,
then there's a problem. Because I'll say this as well, because I noticed that during the evening with the Passover, I remember when I first saw you, when we first locked eyes, I saw the envious look that you gave me, and I noticed there was a certain shift in your vibration energy. And yes, I noticed, I'm not being paranoid, I saw it with my own eyes. And the way you greeted me was very, very half-hearted. So I can already see what type of guy you are, and all these demonic spirits that are in you, you need to pray to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua to alleviate the spirits upon you, because having a heavy burden on you. And this will prevent you from being part of the 144 elect. So I'm just letting you know, out of love, that what you're doing is wrong. Okay? And
brothers
that's
pray, and that's the thing, brothers actually pray for that, man. Pray for that many times when Most High takes certain spirits off certain brothers, man.
There you go. So please, and I say this with such emphasis because believe it or not, I actually care, because I want the best for every Hebrew Israelite woman and child. Just please, man, woman and child, there you go. So please just stop with this paranoia. No one's against you, no one hates you. Now we all want the best for you, we all want the same thing. And if it's a case where you decide to go your own way and preach because you don't believe with a certain acts that certain brothers conducted, number one, I don't agree with the way you moved about it, the way you went about it. But nevertheless, you know, if you want to go your own way, but go about your business in peace. Do the work of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai non-deceitfully. And stop spreading wicked lies about your brothers and constantly sending subliminals about your brothers, because it ain't healthy and it's transgressing against the law. So, and I'm also
because you're
all because you're hurt. Because what it is pride as well. Because what you wanted, you gave certain brothers ultimatums, and because a lot of brothers didn't follow your lead, you saw that as an insult, and now you're using that to generate some sort of, envy towards fellow brothers, because what you want is control. You want to be able to control people's thoughts and feelings. And I noticed you're doing it with one brother in your camp, and it's pretty evident. But guess what? You're not going to do it to me. You're not going to do it to everyone else, because Yahweh directs us, that's not you. Just because you want us to take your lead, doesn't mean we're going to automatically comply, because we have got minds of our own, which is controlled by Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So we'll do what's best for us. We'll do what's best, not just for us, but in the eyes of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So stop being very prideful, because what your pride is killing you right now, if I'm being honest. So, and if I've got to be honest, I didn't really want to speak about certain brothers and individuals, but at the same time, it's the spirit. And obviously, again, I'm doing this because number one, Yahweh put the spirit upon me to do so, and he's most likely doing it because he wants you to hear this information and make you turn from your wicked ways, if the truth be known to you. And again, this is not out of spitefulness, this is not a rant, this is not bitterness or whatever. This is just actually out of pure love, and I need you to understand this. Okay, I need you to understand this, because like I said, your brothers in your camps, they're not going to tell you what you're doing is wrong, because number one is very weak and he's got the spirit of fear upon him, and your spirits are rubbing off upon each other, so you're not helping each other. But when you watch this video, and I know you will, please acknowledge this out of love, and I honestly hope that you actually turn from the ways that are obviously wrong, because what you're doing is very, very wrong, if I'm being honest with you. Alright?
And you know why it is the mercy you have by Shemi Ashai for the spirit to this lesson again today. I believe when you say that you wasn't expected to do this lesson and say these things. Last time you had that done the last lesson, you said it's the last time I was speaking. But Yahweh Shemi Ashai for the spirit to, and that is the mercy, because through the spirit I believe that if it was any one of us brothers doing this video, definitely, but the Most High chose a humble brother to let you know again that you're going off in the spirit, man. And whether you adhere to it or not, that's between you and the Most High. But the Most High stretched out his arm again, man. Now you can take that how you want, you know. Maybe we know we're all just nothing, but we know the brother likes to see himself higher than brothers, and if it's not of his way, then you know what I mean. So, but hey, man, that's the Heavenly Father stretching out his hand, man.
Yeah, we couldn't bring this out. This is James 5:16. Confess your faults one to another and pray one for another that ye may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So long and short of it, we're still going to pray for our brothers.
And then, you know, even when you confess your sin, you don't back it up with something prideful. You know.
That's right.
You know.
I was waiting for when you're wrapping it up. All right, so this is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12.
When I wrap up the lessons.
Yeah.
Okay, can I go for a few more?
Yeah, all right.
Okay, fair enough. Can someone bring out 1 John 3:15?
This is 1 John chapter 3 verse 15. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer, and ye know that no murderer have eternal life abiding in him.
Oh yeah, it was meant to go. It was meant to.
It needed to come out.
It needed to come out. You know, so the scripture says, "Those that hate his brother is a murderer."
That's right.
So, although you're not coming out and saying that you hate certain brothers, but your actions speak volumes.
But explain why you're a murderer, because you see your brother going off, and because of that hatred, that's why it says, don't hate your brother in your heart. You know, you won't correct them, or you're not correcting them with the right spirit. You're correcting them for envy, for strife, or to make yourself look better.
And you know what's crazy? Because even like myself sometimes, through examining myself sometimes, even when because I'll think about them brothers from time to time, you know, as we do, probably all do, right? And I'll think of something, and I'll see a certain spirit that's on a brother, I might watch the lesson and be like, wow, like, then I think to myself, the thing I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking, am I being hateful towards him? Then the spirit assures me, no, you haven't done nothing. There's nothing that you've done. Do you understand? So, but it's the key point is to examine. Are you even examining what I said? Is that could have been deemed as hateful? And it's going to show that a brother's not doing any examination at all to say the stuff that he's saying. If you understand that the brother says some of the stuff, I'm seeing the same stuff you're seeing. So I know what you're talking about.
100%. You'll see it.
But like you said though, you're not holding it into you to where man's living rent free in your mind now, to where you're carrying that shit with you around for the whole day, thinking about what this brother's thinking and that brother's thinking. You're only hurting yourself doing that.
That's what I'm saying. You're just draining a lot of energy from yourself by doing such a thing. Because yes, it's clear as day that we are in your heads, but at the same time, we want to be in your heads for the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? It's not for the wrong reason, because we're not trying to make you downgrade. We're not trying to implicate you, because if we're trying to implicate you, then Yahweh's going to implicate us. It's going to limit our understanding, and then we're going to go off. So this is not out of hate or dislike. This is actually out of pure love, because we want the best for you. That's all it is. So if I'm in your head, I'm glad I am, because I need this message to digest accordingly. I need it to sink in, you know, because it's the law. It's the law, simple as that.
Our words and our actions are being witnessed against us.
Well, we're bringing at the end of every lesson, man. Flipping, Most High is going to bring into judgment every word, every deed. Where's the 14? Yeah.
Whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Yeah. Good or whether it be evil, man. Yes, right.
Galatians chapter 6 verse 1, and then once you're done with verse 1, jump to verse 10.
Like, these scriptures ain't here for nothing, you know. There's loads of like some flipping mills and loons. You know, some of the love book where you just take it and feel good. No, it's there for our learning.
Exactly.
Like, if we want to use the analogy that they give it in the world, best instructions before leaving Earth. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Like, come on, man.
It's true though what you said, because I mean, what is the whole point of even reading the Bible? You don't read it just to feel good.
Get a comic book, man.
You have to say you don't read it to feel good.
It says that what some teach for contention, some teach
for
for strife.
strife.
There's many different reasons a man might pick up and read. What does Esau pick up the Bible for? But
Contention and strife.
You're supposed to read it for.
Yeah.
You read it for instructions in righteousness.
That's right, man.
That's the whole point of it. It's like, read it, do as you say, and there's a reward at the end. You know, when you like endure unto the end. You know, and like, just like if you even got demons, you know, it's start reading the Bible to get them demons off you. You read the Bible, you keep the laws, and that's what keeps the demons away.
Brother brought the perfect precept earlier. You could read this to be getting wisdom and understanding, get all the wisdom, all the precepts, all the faith, but without the charity, then what was
Exactly.
Applying it.
You see that straight?
Back in the world and be what you were before.
Do it.
And not
Not a hearer only.
Because I'll speak quick with you because you got to take into account, yeah. If I didn't care about your tool or I completely disliked you, and I wasn't trying to make you see things from a certain perspective or angle, I would be like, you know what? This idiot can talk about me all he wants. He can send as much subliminal messages towards me or my fellow brothers as much as he wants. But in the case where I'm doing these videos because I want it to have an influence on you and I want you to see things from a certain perspective. Because I wasn't presented the opportunity to speak to you on the phone because you started raging and shouting because your pride got in the way. But also I know you can't interrupt what's on camera because you're viewing it. You know, I'm doing this because I need you to realise that what you're doing is obviously very wicked. It's very wicked. And like I said, your brothers that are close to you and congregating with you, they're not going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you it's wicked. And like I said, I'm doing this because I care, because I actually don't want you to perish. I want you to succeed and flourish, just like with the rest of us. Because, like I said, I can easily be like, you know what, I'm going to do my lessons, I'm not going to speak about him, I'm not going to speak about a certain brother, I'm not going to speak about, you know, the matter as a whole. But like I said, I was putting the spirit upon me to do this video. Number one, the spirit of fear video, and this one, brotherly love, pertaining to certain brothers in particular. Because certain brothers really need to learn. And also what it boils down to, because certain brothers are not used to being held accountable for their actions. So obviously I've got to do this in meek fashion. Yes, don't get me wrong, there's a bit of passion when I say certain things, but at the same time, because I want you to get it. That's why I'm saying it with a certain conviction. And again, when I'm saying it with a certain conviction, it's not out of spite, hate, jealousy, or envy. It's actually out of pure love. Whether you believe it or not, it's strictly down to you. Go on.
Book of Galatians chapter 6 verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, yea, which are spiritual, restore such, and one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted.
Alright, so you know, if a brother's at fault, basically you gotta pull them up, you gotta, you know, get them back up on their feet, as I say, make them ensure that they're walking the way of righteousness.
The spirit of meekness.
There you go, thank you, the spirit of meekness, do it humbly. You don't need to constantly remind your brother about the sin that they've conducted, you know, because that's, and I understand if you want to do it because you're ensuring that they don't repeat the same sin, but at the same time, when you're doing it over and over and over, and there's a certain tone and a certain energy that's been perpetuated, now we know you're not doing it out of meekness, you're just doing it out of envy. And because you want your brother to sink, and you want your chances to be enhanced to reach the kingdom of heaven. But that's not how it works. Because it's all about brotherly love, it all goes hand in hand. You know? Because even how Shai says it, if you give mercy, you'll receive mercy. You know, if you give up mercy, you'll receive mercy. You know, and all the rest of it. Read Matthew 5, it will say a lot. You know?
With that brother as well, we know that when it comes to rebuking you, we know that he has got love in that sense. He's going to let you know if you're going, which is a beautiful trait. But then you got to be able to balance it out. Because I'm saying now, okay, know when to rebuke, how to rebuke, and if you should rebuke in the first place. That's one thing I never have to worry about, brother. I know that if I'm going on, he would tell me. But reason is everything. Why are you telling me this? Is this to uplift me? Because there are times there was, but you always realize the difference between a sincere rebuke and a rebuke that's a rebuke to try and bring you down. Like you said, and like you always say, admonish a man once or twice. This is the second time you've admonished man now. Now we put that Lord willing, we ain't gonna do nothing. We ain't gonna speak no more on it again. Even if the brother's most likely to go and see this video, and Lord willing, the video takes some sort of effect on it. Because the times at best when a brother did humble down, and we saw the brother in a let's say his light was shining more. There was a bit, but then guess what? This is how we know it's spiritual. The spirit jumped back on him again. Because we know it's not the brother, it's a spirit that's on him.
It's a spirit, yeah. Like I said, and you know, he brought out a good point. Because last time I did say it would be the first and last time, and I really honestly hope this is the final time that I should speak on certain brothers and obviously as the matter as a whole. Because you know, listen, this Bible is a very huge book. There's a number of subjects that you can touch on. Having to come out and just constantly downgrade your brothers, it's just like, come on, you're wasting your time. You know, there's a lot of things that you can cover that a lot of people are completely unaware about. You know, so just like, you know, I just pray that the Most High puts the Spirit upon you to see things from a logical angle, you know, from a logical perspective. You know, because the scripture says that blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. So, you know, you exerting being merciful towards your brothers, the Most High will have that mercy upon you during that time of famine, during that time of destruction, you know?
Even the
so
logical side
please
of
bear
thing.
that in mind.
Even the logical side of things, the brother's not stupid, man. He's a spiritual man. He's not stupid. What it is pride, like you said. Yeah. Another thing is the feelings and emotions, which you have to get out. All of us, that's part of the sacrifice when it comes to the truth. Getting rid of your feelings and emotions. Fuck how you think, hey man, what the times we're coming into now, yeah, Yahweh Shem Shai is getting ready to take away everything that we deem a comfort to us, man. He's been slowly doing that anyway, but we're gonna really start being, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna slowly be, that's gonna happen, that's gonna be amped up, man. He's polishing up his gold, man. So, like you say, how much more now we getting in our feelings and shit, man? Listen, we're still very much in our feelings at times, all of us here. Can I say to you, if we examine ourselves, we all understand that, man.
Truth be told, yeah.
And the Heavenly Father's gonna start taking away our comforts, man. That's right. So all this, like I say, man, really and truly, like you say, it's really for edification. We pray that the Most High. But right now, yeah, this ain't gonna be thought of soon, man. This little shit, but guess what though? The Most High is gonna be Most High that should remember this. We're gonna forget about we're gonna forget about all this soon, man. When we gotta start thinking about where our next meal's coming from. We gotta start thinking about the wealth and the safety of our children and our women and shit like this, man. And I say, and our brothers, man. Yeah, of course.
I know what, there's a big mirror right here, you know, whilst we're teaching. There's a big mirror here. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a one-way lesson.
Verse 10.
It's the book of Galatians chapter 6 verse 10. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith.
Because not everybody gets this opportunity. That's the key thing. Not everybody gets this opportunity. You've been given an opportunity. It says what? Use not thy liberty, for roughly paraphrasing, use not thy liberty, man, for wickedness.
There you go, you know. And you know, like what the scripture says, those that are in the household of faith, like everyone here has faith. So for you to come out and obviously, you know, constantly just crap on your brothers and just being like, just perpetuating a lot of false narratives. Yeah, you read my mind. False narratives, obviously trying to create an unnecessary siege mentality. I understand that mentality if it's towards Esau, because yes, we know what Esau's about, but towards our own brothers, like, come on, that is ridiculous, it's laughable. And I gotta be honest as well, I've watched back your videos a couple of times, and to be honest, they do crack me up. You know why they make me laugh? Because a lot of the things that you perpetuate is absolutely ludicrous. They, you know, it's just foolishness that's being perpetuated. And I'm thinking, come on, what's this brother talking about? Like, he's just completely paranoid. But at the same time though, my entertainment is not important at all. Like, I honestly hope that it's a case where you better yourself and that you actually start preaching the word with pure sincerity and how the scriptures permit you to do such a thing. You know, because what this is a blessing. Remember, not every nation has this privilege of having a book with laws presented to them. So count yourself lucky that Yahweh Bashem Yahshai brought you part of that seed line that makes it possible for you to sustain salvation. Because every other nation, just like what it says in Psalm, Yahweh's not known any other nation. He gave his word and his covenant unto Jacob, you know? So count this as a sincere and absolute utter privilege, an ultimate privilege that no other nation can sustain. No other privilege can be compared unto the privilege Yahweh Bashem Yahushua has given unto us as a people and unto us as a nation, okay? So please just bear that in mind. We're not your enemies, we're your brothers. We actually love you, believe it or not. We just completely utterly despise certain characteristics that you withhold within yourself. And the spirit that is on you, we absolutely despise them. Because the spirit that you have on you is not a fruitful spirit. It's a very, very wicked spirit. It's a demonic spirit that needs to be alleviated ASAP, as soon as possible. Because we don't know when that end time is coming. We know it's very close, but we can't put a day on it. Okay? You can't put a day on it. Yahweh Shai will come at a time when no one expects. So imagine you carrying all this hate and envy towards your brothers, and Yahweh Shai comes back tomorrow. You're absolutely finished. You can't reach salvation because you completely contradict the law of brotherly love. You know, so this is why you need to get yourself right and come out of your emotions. You say it's passion, but it's not passion. It's just pure emotion and envy and hatred, which is not healthy. Because one point I want to make as well, because you coming out and saying, oh, you coming out and saying, your brothers, or just because you see chariots every week doesn't mean they're going to be saved. We never once come out and said just because we see chariots every week that means we're guaranteed to be in the kingdom of heaven. We never came out and said that. You don't need to say such a hateful thing like that. Like, why on earth would you say that?
I wouldn't even.
That is very poor.
That witness is that desperate people do desperate things. And when brothers are feeling sorry for themselves, they try to clutch at.
Yeah.
But when you have understanding, we know that at the end of the day, innit? So that's not to stop anything, but that's neither here nor there. Right now, he's hurt us. You know what I'm saying? We understand. So it's not even a thing of where it's sad more than anything. Man. So it's like when you're saying things like, oh, I don't care, brothers want to kill me. It's the level of paranoia. Brothers are going to come for me in that day and come. It's the level of it's the spirits that the Heavenly Father's putting on the man. And it's sad to watch, man. Isn't it? This is what I'm trying to say. This is how deep it is when you start straying away from what you need to be doing, man. It's scary, man.
It's the same way you may not have the privilege of seeing chariots week in, week out. We don't automatically assume, or at least I don't automatically assume that, oh, that's a sign that you're not going to be part of the kingdom of heaven. Same way, I constantly see 144 everywhere these days, you know. But that doesn't mean to say that, oh yes, that means I'm part of the number. That's just how Bashim and Shah give me a sign saying, you know what, continue to walk in the way of righteousness. This is what you have in store. This is what's in store for you. Exactly, it's a reminder that you're going to be part of this 144,000 elect. Nothing is guaranteed. Never mind what the Christian church is saying about, oh, we're saved, we're blessed, we're saved, blah, blah, blah. It's foolishness. None of us here are saved. We're still here. Because we can still be impacted. We can still be implicated. So this is why we pray every day, and we don't take prayer for granted. You know, because we all got spirits upon us that need to be alleviated. Just because we're 100% in the truth and we're walking in faith doesn't mean that, you know, we're 100% cleared of demonic spirits. You know, because I'll make one example. Because, like, for example, you come out and advise certain brothers to pray to the Most High for a woman, and I got to be honest with you, that's the last thing we need right now, praying for a woman, because that's number one. A lot of these females out here are distractions. You know, it's bad. Okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah, you know what? Yeah, probably let's jump to it now.
This is Galatians chapter 5 and verse 22, and it reads, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, and there's faith. Leave it there.
And as long as you keep on doing what you're doing to yourself, it's not going to be the fruits that you're bearing. Because you know that, hey, there's nothing more beautiful coming out and doing this work, man.
No,
I'm sure every brother can attest to that. Wherever, man, your legs might hurt after a while. And you're not thinking about it in a tight moment. Yeah. This is our happiness, man.
Just was going to just reiterate on this. And if you notice, like the first thing in Galatians 5 verse 22, the first thing when it said, but the fruit of the Spirit, first thing mentioned was love. So that goes to show how up there that love is, that people take for granted and just use the word, but don't show the actions that come with the word.
And what was the next big one after love?
You know, it's just like, joy, peace. It's just like you saying, oh, you love your woman, but every day, as she opens her mouth, you beat the hell out of her. How's that showing, exactly, how's that showing love? You know?
Got one final one. Book of Tobit Book of Tobit 4 and 13.
This is the book of Tobit, chapter 4 and verse 13. Oops, lucky. Tobit, chapter 4 and verse 13. And it reads, there we go. Tobit chapter 4 verse 13, and it reads, now therefore, my son, love thy brethren, and despise not in thine heart thy brethren, the sons and daughters of thy people, in not taking a wife of them, for in pride is destruction, and much trouble, and in lewdness is decay, and great want, For lewdness is the mother of famine. Before it gets better.
And famine is too full as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
The word as well.
That's a deep precept.
Yo, start to wrap up, please.
Let me just quickly.
It's raining. I don't want the camera to start.
Alright,
Wet,
yeah.
Quickly
let's
just
go.
cool down.
Yeah, I've got the last piece of argument on it. Yeah, so with that Israel, hopefully you're edified, and obviously hopefully with certain brothers that carry certain spirits that this has obviously, make you see things from a different perspective and angle, hopefully this makes you to have a more fruitful spirit, because this is obviously done for edification purposes, it's not out of hate, it's not out of envy, it's not out of jealousy or anything like that, it's just out of pure love, because we love every brother, we want the best for every brother, but we also know that not everyone's going to be saved, but at the same time men that are in the truth, we want the best for you guys, we want the best for all of us, so hopefully for other viewers watching this, hopefully you're edified, and hopefully this is giving you the conviction and motivation to preach onto fellow brothers about true love as well. Because it's a very deep law, it's very basic, but it's very deep, it goes a long way. Because, this is where it's going to be a lot of brothers downfall. So, like I said, hopefully everyone's edified, and hopefully this has been an inspiring lesson. So with that, we're obviously going to face the East, close out, and give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Waha, Rakah, Kadash, Hum Yashallah. Shalom Israel.
That's right. We out.
Shalom.